Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to this week's Business Leaders Breakfast. And I'm excited. Joining me in the hot seat is Director of Bathurst-based renewable energy strategy business, Ashley Bland. Ash, welcome to breakfast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited, mate. It's great to catch up and thanks for making yourself available this morning. Ash, Constructive Energy, it's got a fantastic story and it's come a long way in the last couple of years since you kicked off in Bathurst. But for those that don't know, can you tell us, I guess, a little bit about your personal journey in the Central West and a little bit about how Constructive Energy got started?
Yeah, sure. Well, I was born yet home between Bathurst and Lithgow and took off to uni. I thought this was the bum end of the world, and couldn't wait to get out when I was 18. I went to uni and did a combined degree in engineering and ecology. It seemed a bit weird, but actually turned out to be really useful. And I worked in the mining industry for a few years. I became a pro-muso for a while and a broccoli farmer. And then got back into conservation and energy and the like. Followed a girl overseas, turned out to be a good idea. And we were there for about 3 years. Came back and moved to Sydney. We're living there for a little while and went, oh my goodness, this is hard. And started to retreat back to the farm, the country, and realised that we could actually build a life out here. Came out and worked in the not-for-profit sector, delivering environmental programs, got quite heavily into energy efficiency, the built environment. And after 9 years in that, decided to start my own company, which deals in just really the built environment and energy specifically right at this point in time.
So it's a diverse background and journey that you've been on. I'd love to know what your instrument of choice is, but we might find that out a little bit later. So you kicked off in Bathurst a couple of years ago, and what I really liked when I found out about Constructive Energy is you actually started your business and you're based out of the Upstairs Hub in Bathurst. Can you tell us about that space and what it's meant for your business as you've scaled up, I guess?
Yeah, look, it was extraordinary. It was like the heavens opened up and just went, da-da, this is exactly what you need, And so it ranged from initially just having an affordable place to work that wasn't home. That was like a really good thing. Get out of your bedroom and actually make this real and turn up a place, each day for work. That has its own benefit. But of course, within there's all of the mentoring and the support and the other people you meet in there, which actually makes it a perfect combination. It's like all of the best bits of having an office and a work team and all that without the office politics. So people are just interested enough in your business, and very supportive. And, it's nice to have those human interactions, especially when you're setting out on your own and it's a bit of a white knuckle ride there while you get going. Just an incredibly supportive environment where the problems that you need solved, there's somebody sitting there or nearby that can help you solve that. So it's really good for gaining momentum and getting the business up and running.
Yeah, definitely that exchange of ideas, that organic kind of exchange of ideas to help you on your journey is fantastic. And we'll put the link up to the Upstairs Hub after this morning's chat because it's a fantastic regional resource that's based over there at Bathurst.
Sign up, join, we need you.
Good plug. But can you tell us, I guess, a little bit about, you spoke briefly there at the top about how that formed some connections for you working out of the Upstairs Hub, and I believe that's how you met one of your business partners. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it was a classic sort of lunch break kind of interaction. Oh, you're dealing with energy, are you? Oh, people keep telling me I should talk to you. Oh, people have been saying that to me too. What are you doing? And we sat down and went, oh, actually, yeah, we are doing really similar things, but perhaps, most importantly, we found that we were very aligned in terms of our values and objectives and the way we operated. And, I guess organically it's grown until a point that it was just obvious that we should be business partners. And so we've done that and we're launching off. And, it's that classic case of, when you find the right person, the sum of the parts is, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So, we're a very complementary team now and it's great. And we're growing still. We're sort of looking at who next now.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fantastic to see a local startup business that's progressing and to be expanding. Now, I can imagine starting your own business, it's hard yakka and you've got to hold on for the ride, as you said. But what have you learnt, I guess, through that period of starting up your business, going from just an idea on paper into a fully fledged, successful local business?
Well, it takes a bit of grit, there's no doubt about that. There's a lot of really basic stuff that makes sense. You know, getting your business plan right, having a strategic thing, asking your market, you know, testing your customers, all of that sort of stuff becomes, you know, there's a million templates out there, all the big companies, you know, there's so many resources out there. You just need to grab one and use it. And that stuff really works. You know, you've got to get deliberate about this stuff, and then you've got to be disciplined and keep going. Momentum is important. You can get stuck in a rut and you can die a death by perfection, where you think, oh, is this perfect? And there's a point where you just go, well, make the call, give it a go, you know.
Interesting, that's a really good point. Craig Murphy was a previous guest here on the Business Breakfast, and he said if you've got an idea and you're taking it to market, if it's 80-85% ready, go for it, because you can spend months and ages just trying to nuance and get that last 10 or 15%, and by that point the horse might have bolted and you might miss your chance.
Oh, 100%. You know, you've just got to get out there. And, you know, humans, we're all humans at the end of the day, you know, and the person answering the phone is just like you and probably has empathy for where you're at. And the worst you can do is have a conversation and get feedback and intelligence and modify your approach, you know. And that becomes really important because, you know, where I am now is very different to where I imagined myself that while ago. And the only reason that happens, well, A, that's the reason I'm still in business, because I moved, and B, the reason I moved was because I got useful feedback.
And interesting, another previous guest said, don't focus your business on what you want to deliver, focus on what your customers want you to deliver.
100%. You know, and another little thing that as a bit of an axiom of mine is it's all imaginary until someone pays an invoice. You know,
yeah,
like,
it's fair.
And so you've got to find your customer, and when they pay you, it's like, right, there's something in that, you know, and keep going.
Yeah, it's a beautiful segue to my next question, because when we first caught up maybe 12 months ago or so ago, you told me about your renewable energy action plans and how that might be a bit of your point of difference as a business. Can you tell us about those, what they are, and I guess how they've been received locally across our region?
Yeah, I can. So, you know, I think underpinning that is like, well, why would this exist? What's the need? And one of the things that I was seeing in the media at the times, there's all this talk about renewables and all this, you know, fantastic, they're better than, you know, sliced bread and all that. And I figured that out there people would be unsure of what to do. There'd be a gnawing feeling that they should do something, but not really sure what. And to make matters even worse, the industry is full of, you know, it's a frontier kind of industry. So it's, you know, there's a few sharks out there, and you know, if you ask for an opinion, you get 5 different ones, and how do you make a decision? So I figured that there was value in kind of making that easy for people, providing some independence around it, and saying, well, how do you make a decision about this stuff? You know, what's important to you? What's available, where does it match up to make the most sense for your business? And so going into a local government space, you know, that certainly had resonance. You know, they're getting pushback from their community going, what are you doing about renewables? They're getting bills that have been going through the floor, so there's a few drivers. They're unsure what to do, and so when you turn up and say, look, we can help you through that process and we can help you make decisions, it turns out that that's actually quite, you know, valuable for people. Local government has been our main sort of source of work in that regard, but not exclusively. We do quite a lot of work for mostly larger corporations now in the same way.
Now, you've been on this journey for a couple of years. It's also coincided with probably 2 of the most up and down years that anyone or any business owner could expect. What have you learned about yourself in that period, and how has your approach changed during that time?
Well, the most obvious one is the use of technology. You know, I mean, I've worked with clients in Queensland for 6 months before I actually even met them. Once upon a time, I wouldn't have thought that was possible. And so, you know, you sort of go straight from, it allows you to get working more quickly. So, you know, you'd meet somebody, you'd have a coffee, you'd build a rapport, you'd follow up with an email, you'd have another call, and then you might get business. Now, a lot of that happens previously. You're straight onto a Zoom call, and it's like, bang, we've saved one of those stages. We get straight into business. So that's been a really positive part of it. One of the things I have learned, though, is the value of creating space in your life. So, I mean, COVID forced us to slow down and be home and stop. And I often reflect that people who engage us pay us for thinking. You know, they want us to do the thinking for them. So it's important to allow yourself space to do that thinking. And pre-COVID, I think, you can be running around flat out. You say, oh, how you going? Oh, I'm busy. Everyone's busy, but actually what you want is to allow the space for your brain to join the dots, to reflect on information, to take it in and make the right decisions and the correct insights. So, that idea of actually giving yourself space was probably one of my key learnings out of that period.
That's good advice, and it's that time to be strategic with your business, not always just internally focused on the business, but almost taking a step back.
Yeah.
And in your case, it's giving time to kind of do that analytical thinking to help you take the next step.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a passion for the renewable sector. What excites you most about the renewable sector, and where can you see it going in the Central West in the short to medium term?
Look, we are in the midst of an incredibly rapid transformation, and in many ways it's back to the future. The thing that excites me about renewables is the socio-economic and environmental impact of a technological change. So when say mobile phones came in, that radically changed society in the way it worked. We didn't really at that point have a thought or a process about what that change would be. We didn't complain about the businesses that have closed because of phones and smartphones. We didn't celebrate the businesses that opened because of phones, but it was a technological change. Renewable energy is much the same, and that what it allows is distributed energy, and that allows a degree of democratisation of energy. The regions are the ones that stand to benefit here most. It's $1 billion in the Central West sort of region here, $1 billion a year that we spend on energy. Now, we have, for the first time in 60, 70 years, which is the way it used to happen, we used to make our energy here. In state government, we'll do it over there, we'll dig coal up. Now, we can do it here. So not only is there a technological aspect to that, but there's a financial aspect. Imagine $100, or $1 billion a year. Imagine just 10% of that staying within the region, 20%, 30%. The energy comes from that thing up in the sky, or the wind, or whatever it is. So we can actually do that locally and reduce that economic leakage and use that to underpin the viability of our regions. And I'd really love to see that energy being picked up to deliver social enterprise. Somebody's going to make a lot of money out of providing energy. If it's multinationals, you and I will be the most still paying. If it's, Veritas House, Landcare, the cancer clinic, if these guys can be involved in that transition, then we can underpin service delivery within our communities in the longer term. The catch is it's incredibly rapid. So I think probably 2 or 3 years ago, I made a prediction that this region would be a net exporter of energy, by about now. And I think that's probably fairly close. In 10 years' time, most of the coal-fired power plants in Australia will be out of business, out of action, and the bulk of our energy will come from renewables. And I think, it's one of those changes that goes, boom, bang, it's done. And we've got an alignment of the economics, the social case, and the technology right now. Those 3 things have aligned, and I think you're going to see really rapid transformation. And if we get it right, we'll see major benefits in regional Australia.
Yeah, well, look, it's great to get those insights from you. We're going to change pace a little bit now and hit you with the Fast 5. What is an app, Ash, that you use every day and can't live without?
Spotify.
Okay. What's your go-to song?
Oh, songs.
You're a muso, so a bit off track. Favourite band?
Oh, I've got a playlist at the moment. I don't know, maybe I'm such a nerd. I've just been listening to Mozart's 21st Piano Concerto, which
I would not have picked that.
I always go back to that. But look, there's some classics of, the Pink Floyd and all of that kind of era. I'm into a lot of emerging Australian artists. I'm like Holy, and, there's some great stuff out there. There's so much good music in the world.
Now, hidden talent or hobby, I think I can sense where this one's going to go.
Yeah, probably music, yeah.
What's your instrument?
Look, I'm just playing didgeridoo more than anything else at the moment, but I used to sing a lot and play a bit of bass guitar and keys.
Okay, hidden gem of the Central West. So if someone is visiting the region for the first time, or family members coming to say g'day, where's somewhere you'd love to take them that might be a bit off the beaten track or not?
Black spots, anywhere there's no mobile phone reception. That's a gift to humanity. Probably Winbondale Nature Reserve. It is amazing country.
Yeah, no, we'll put the link up and just bring that to everyone's attention because you're right.
Oh, please don't.
It's the hidden gem. It'll be less hidden after this. Alternate career if you weren't leading Constructive Energy?
Oh, so tough. Oh, filmmaking, music, that kind of creative industry thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Another sector that I think's got real potential in the Central West going forward. Who would play you in a movie of your life?
Well,
or who do you think could do a good job?
I'd like to think Mr. Incredible. Joke. No, I probably Kermit the Frog would be about it.
Look, that's the fast five, but one of the other important roles, I guess, that you play, or business roles that you play in the Central West, I believe you have an involvement with green homes. Can you tell us about that, what your role is, and a little bit about how that got started?
Well, Green Homes is an amazing business based in Orange here with global reach, and I've known Mick and the team since about 2006, I think. So my role in there is to support the training and development of builders and some of the technical aspects around evolution in the building industry. Yeah. And so that's really what at the moment we're training builders in the US and on both sides of Australia.
So it's a business that's exporting that expertise, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a franchise model, and they run businesses in Australia, New Zealand, and the US.
Have you seen an increase in, I guess, customer consciousness to I guess the green impacts or the impacts of their construction home?
Absolutely, it's the hockey stick. The people and that I mentioned before in terms of renewables, those things lining up. That social expectation has really shifted, and it feels more like it was back in say 2006-07. When people have flipped. There's a lot of concern for the environment at multiple levels. So not just climate change, but health impacts, healthy homes, and all of that kind of stuff. So there is an exponential increase in people who are searching for green living, energy efficiency, solar, all that kind of stuff. And that Green Homes is a brand that is pretty attractive to those people, that ever-growing segment of society.
And I think it's something you said earlier in the interview, as the economics match up as well and costs start to come down, I think that will fast track more and more people looking down this pathway, and I think it's starting to happen with the renewable energy space, and maybe it'll be the same with the construction of green homes.
Yeah, when the business case aligns with the moral case and it's technically feasible, bang, that's your transition point.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things that I reckon you probably touched on was through that period at the Upstairs Hub, you were able to access a lot of great expertise and mentors. But what's a piece of advice a previous mentor has given you that stayed with you on your professional journey?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've had so much great advice on that journey, I think. There's a lot of people. Most recently, I was wondering about how to make decisions about which clients to take on and what strategic direction, and I had a mentor say to me, well, Ash, who's paying you? So, he went, mind that scene. That's actually a really good sort of strategic advice. Very, very simply put.
What did you say earlier? It's all imagination until you start getting...
Until someone pays an invoice.
Yeah, I think that one's going to stay with me. So look, Ash, it's been great to learn a little bit more, I guess, about the Constructive Energy journey and the journey that you've been on yourself. Looking into the crystal ball, where do you see Constructive Energy going over the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, we're growing. We've got a lot of demand, so that will hopefully continue, and we'll expand and resource accordingly. At the moment, we use lots of contractors within the Central West, predominantly, to meet that demand. So, I think all of the settings are sort of talking to more and more in this energy space, and probably if there's one thing I should do is sort of talk about what local businesses can do in that space as well. Obviously there's solar energy and the ability to put something on your roof so that you stop buying power, but not everybody's in a position to do that. I think probably the one thing I'd say is look out for that retailer environment changing quite dramatically. I think you're going to see a big sort of tribalisation of energy, and we're looking at being able to offer energy specific to clients. So now you can have solar on your roof, or we have it here, and say, I just want the export of that to go to all of my staff, or I want the export of that to go to, older people in town who are struggling with their energy. Like that capability, I think once people and regional communities get hold of that, I think that will actually be quite important. So if you're in a business somewhere, you'll have access to much more affordable energy than you've had up until now, much more choice.
and you've got a lot of projects on the go, I believe, and starting to come online. What's one that you can tell us about today that gets you excited, or something you've been working on and been delivered recently?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, thanks to you, Sam, you opened the door out to Condobolin, and it's a really interesting little case study. That they had a massive investment, $35 million, 30 jobs, wanted to come to town and set up a major processing plant. Turns out that joining to the grid is actually quite expensive and risky, and the investors have gone, whoa, too hard. I mean, what a shame. And the reason is because the network is really quite weak. Now, no amount of generation up and down the coast, and you've got Barnaby Joyce saying build a coal-fired power plant. Well, that's not going to make any difference to the people in Condo. What can make a difference to them is if that local community provides their own energy and stops the local network being a barrier for businesses to set up. Completely possible now. So I'm helping, working with the local council there, who are great, to see if we can get some, what can council do in that space? What can the community do? How can we solve that problem? How can we control energy locally and supply energy locally at an affordable price? That means that business can come and set up in these regional communities. I find that incredibly exciting because the technology, everything's there now. It's just a matter of building the business case, and then hopefully that's an example of where we can attract business and jobs and all that back into the regions instead of having them go somewhere where there just happens to be a big power line.
No, absolutely good. I think there's some real opportunities for the Central West. I think the government kind of settings are there, private enterprise interest is there, and I think it's boding well for the future. Really appreciate your time this morning, Ash. But if there are interested viewers or listeners this morning that want to engage with you to learn more about Constructive Energy, what's the easiest way they can do that?
Well, look, they can Google us, of course, and have contact details through the website, mobile phones there. We'd love to hear from people.
Yeah, well, we'll put the details up for Constructive Energy after this morning's chat. But Ash, thank you so much for your time. Always great to catch up. And for everyone else, we hope you have a great Friday, a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you at the same time next week.
Thank you.